Which brings us to the second main ingredient of landing a truly high ticket client. And that is your follow-up and your nurturing plan. Because a lot of times, whether they're low ticket or a high ticket, they're not always going to say yes the first time. They're going to say no, not now, maybe. They're going to be on the fence. They're going to have objections. So what is your follow-through plan for how to continue to nurture them? Because you could say, okay, and then check them off your list and never talk to them again. But you are never going to have a less expensive lead than somebody that you've already talked to. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back out there and try to find another person to try. Like, that's a lot more work than it is just to continue to nurture somebody that you've already started that path on. So what is that follow-up and nurturing going to look like? Because that's where a lot of coaches and just the sales industry in general fall off and don't have a great process for. And quite frankly, that's my issue. Like there have been some potential clients that I've not done a great job following up on, and they're popping into my mind right now. So I know, like, hold on, let me write their names down because this is critical.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through a whole quarter and I'm like, and then I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, I need to get more clients. So I will go through my list of and I'll look at all the people that are like, oh shit, I didn't respond to this person. Oh shit, I didn't follow up with this person. Or the good news for me is, and this will happen at some point on your journey, is that I set up some systems in there. So even if I miss those people, they are in my newsletter or they're getting a lot of value, even if I'm not aware of it. But I still believe in having like more customized relationship approach to things. So if I miss them, they're still getting value from me. But most coaches who are starting out, they don't have a lot of this stuff in place. So you will have to manually reach out to them consistently. They're not going through a funnel and cycle. Now, one of the things that we've talked about, and I don't want to contradict myself or us in the process, we've told coaches multiple times that when you get started, funnels are probably not the way to, because you do need to build funnels at some point. You need to build a sequence at some point. But initially, you're not even talking to enough people to have something like that. By the time you hit about 100 people or so, or 50 or 60, you'll find that you'll be getting a little bit stretched. So you need to send something in there to keep the nurturing cycle. But so initially, let's say you have an initial call with somebody, whether it's on a group call or one-on-one, then after that, you're getting them on a call where you're supporting them. And that piece is really important. And that's the next follow-up sequence in there is that, hey, if you have an initial call, invite them to a coaching call, support them. And that's where your ability to coach them will become critical. This is why we tell coaches that if you're not getting coached, if you're not building your skill sets, it doesn't matter how many people you're connected with, you will not be able to get clients, or not at the rate that you want to get clients, or at the quality of clients that you want to get. So your skill set in running that session will be crucial. Your skill set, so a bunch of stuff comes into that session. Your skill set generally as a coach, your ability to move sales conversations forward, your ability, you having a clear framework that actually helps clients move forward and not feel like you're confused and you don't know how to navigate it. That's actually why we're doing this masterclass on Monday coming up, is actually we're giving you the framework that has converted $50,000 plus clients, like one-on-one clients, into a coaching program. And it's based on a lot of experience and testing. Now, you can take it as a guideline and test it for yourself. But if you don't have that, you're probably trying to just reinvent the wheel and trying to navigate your way around it. You don't need to do that. So make sure you come to our masterclass. If you're not registered, type #delivery below so we can give you access to that. If you're listening to this outside, on our podcast, let us know somewhere or reach out to us in one of our social media channels. We'd be happy to support you. And so once you have that call, the next step is whether on a follow-up call or on that call, you're making an offer. And this is the crucial part of it. If you're having 100 calls and you're making no offers, guess what? Your conversion rate is 0. You're not getting any clients.
It's 100%, because if you don't make an offer, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. It's 100% with no money.
100% of nothing. Do you want 100% of nothing, or do you want 20% of a lot? Like, make offers, yes, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get no's. You're going to be challenged, but that's part of the process. It's part of the journey. That doesn't mean you suck. It does mean that you have an opportunity to improve, but and that's going to happen. The more offers that you give, you are going to get better.
Yeah, and Rich Lippman calls that proposals. It's the same thing and he actually gets you to track that. We get our clients to track that. Is like track the number of proposals that you make. So if your goal is to make $10,000 in monthly income from this, then you better be making proposals upwards of $30,000-$40,000 to people. Now that will depend on what your offer is. And this is why you need to do the math in there. We do that and it's like, how many offers at that level do you need to make? Because you can assume that your conversion rate will be about 10% in the beginning. So if you need 10 clients, you need to talk to probably about 100 clients until you do it and you get the real data. It might be more, might be 15%, or it might be lower, or it might be 20%. On average, 10% is a good assumption if you've not done sales. But so this means that you need to make proposals. Without making those proposals or offers, there is no coaching business. So assuming you're making those proposals, and on average, you'll have quite a few people will not sign up right away. Actually, more often than not, people don't sign up right away from you. It takes anywhere from about a couple of days, a few days, to a week, to even a month. The last client that I signed up was a high ticket client. It was $46,000 package. Took about a month, and there were some mistakes I made in the process, but that could have been anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to a month. And that came from a warm direction, which means it came from a referral. I had a lot of trust and connection in that network. So it should have gone much better than I thought, but it took about a month, and it took follow-ups and understanding how we can move that forward. So what does follow-up look like? Well, if you're doing this manually, you're checking in with the client. I'm just checking in with you. Send value to them based on the things that they share. Because if you've done a discovery call, they've shared a lot of things with you. If you've done a long that they've shared their goals, their challenges, you could literally make a video about every challenge and send it to them, or share somebody else's video. I don't care what you said. I'm sending in a value. Hey, I wanted to make sure that you're supported. That you mentioned that you will confirm the decision at this time. Right. A few days later, you send a message, and then a week later, you send a message. If you don't hear back, extend that a little bit. Maybe 3 months later, check in and support them. Get them on a call. Do your best to make sure they're supported. A lot of people are not ready right away to commit to something. It might take them a little bit of pushing in. A lot of actually sales is helping clients make a decision that supports them.
Yeah.
So if you don't have follow-up, then you likely don't have clients. This is what would happen in the past with me. I would get on a call, I would make the offer, the sales call went well, and then the client will say, I'll make a decision in a couple of days or the next day after I've dealt with the objections and everything. So now nothing, I send them the thing, nothing is happening. Then I'll send them another message, I'd love to get on a call, nothing. But the second attempt, I would give up. And I would take it personally. In a lot of senses. Oh, maybe I don't want to be an annoyance to this person. Maybe this person doesn't need. That might not be the case. It might be the case that he's or she is incredibly busy. They have lots of things happening in their life. There might have been an emergency that happened. They just might have had some deadline or something that they're hitting, and they might be completely swamped for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. If they don't hear from you, what they hear is that you don't care to support them. What you think is that you're annoyed by them. I mean, they're annoyed by you.
Yeah. Well, you are annoyed by them, but they're also
both sides.
Right. But what if rather you had the mindset of the reason that they're not responding is because of the exact issues that they shared with you, the exact challenges that they shared with you in their session. Maybe they're so overwhelmed that they didn't even see the emails because they have so many emails. Or maybe it's because they're so entrenched in this challenge at work or in their business or at home or in a relationship that they just they don't feel like they have the bandwidth for anything else. So maybe interpret it that way and then reach back out and say, hey, I realize you're probably so overwhelmed that, it's hard for you even to consider this. this is the exact reason why coaching would be so valuable right now because XYZ or whatever. So how we interpret these potential rejections or, whatever, however it is that we're experiencing really can matter. And that will impact the follow-up and the nurturing process.
Yeah, for sure. And this, I want to wrap this up in this nice package. So imagine you're a coach, you connected with one or two people, and you take them through your cycle of 1, 2, or 3 calls you're having by the time you make the offer, and you're kind of crossing your fingers that I hope they sign up for this $5,000 package too. That is not a good state to be in, to just talk to one person and that's the only potential, even 2 people. Ideally, you should be talking to multiple different people. In fact, I would say more people than you can handle. And this is a very normal, let's say more people, because one, you shouldn't be attached to when the client signs.
Yeah.
And you should have somebody else to talk to so you don't get stuck in scarcity thinking that, oh, there aren't enough people. I can tell you that there are an unlimited number of people. Yes, there are a limited number of people on Earth. There are about 8 billion people, but realistically speaking, you're not going to be able to reach out to even a fraction of that. If you really look at even if you're a specific niche you look at, there are too many people for you to reach out to. For the past let's say 5 years, for the past 5 years or so, I've had a specific niche, but if I were to look at all the people in the real estate investing world, there are too many people for me to reach. Even if I set up an automated system, even if I set up ads, it will be too many people for me to reach out to. And I will exhaust my systems before I can reach out to people. So there are more than enough people for you to talk to, for you to serve, for you to support, and for you to make your offer to. And usually coaches get stuck with this because they're only talking to 1 or 2 people or 1 or 2 organizations or people or whoever. And that by the time this kind of you go through that journey, it might take a few weeks, a month, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 months. You get to the other end, they will both say likely no. And you're like, oh shit, I have to restart this again. But if you're always talking to people, like right now, I had sales calls. I'm looking at my calendar. I had 3 sales calls last week and 1 intro call. And then the next week, I'm following up with those. I had 2 intro calls this week. And I have 1 sales call, actually 2 sales calls this week. And I followed up with one of them. The other one is coming up on Friday. Every week I have sales calls coming up. So I want to support all these people, but the ones who move forward are the ones who are going to be part of my program, because I've set up my program in a way where I can take in more people so I can constantly talk to people. But it's a good thing for you to run out of space because that increases the demand, which means that you'll be forced to create a different version of that program. So if you're not talking to enough people, you're probably feeling like nothing is working. That's not true. You're just not talking to enough people.
Oh, I love that. So the 3 critical components, just to put a bow on the package that Faisal just created, is the relationship that matters. Think about, how can I warm up this person even more? How can I make sure that I've got a process that helps them be able to know, like, and trust me even more? That's a critical component. The second one is, what is your follow-up and nurturing process or sequence with them? Because chances are you're going to have a lot of people that aren't quite ready to pull the trigger on that first contact. So how can you continue to nurture them so they can know, like, and trust you even more over time? And thirdly, make sure that you have a good skill set around that strategy or discovery session or whatever you call it, and make the offer. Make the offer. Have confidence. Borrow confidence from somewhere. But just do it a lot, because you are going to get better over time and the confidence will come and you are going to continue to improve your skill set. Now, if you want to intentionally spend time improving your skill set on that delivery, we have that masterclass coming up, or if it's already passed, you can go back and watch it. But getting that outside influence to improve and level up as a coach is critical. Because in the same way that we are a coach because we recognize that other people get stuck in their brain and they don't have, like, that outside perspective to get them unstuck, you're no different than that as a coach. I'm no different to that as a coach. When I don't interact with other coaches like Faisal and the coaching mastery community, I get stuck in my own brain and my own limiting beliefs and thoughts and frustrations, and it's a downward spiral. So if you don't have that, come to the masterclass, get refreshed with some new ideas, and join the coaching mastery community Facebook group, because that's a great place full of fresh ideas, full of people who are doing amazing things and want to support each other in our growth.